to thank you this evening for a few minutes of your time to visit about ESOL. Have you ever been in an airplane ride and been amazed by the real bigger picture in everyday life? Today I invite you to see the bigger picture involved with working with English language learners and persuade you to get involved. Recently I worked with a young girl who had been adopted from another country who had no English. She had been through a host of tragedies in her mother country and finally had been adopted in America, and she needed support in the school system to learn English. Teaching English as a second language in America doesn't mean that English is not a language of priority. I want to show you how that it actually strengthens American culture, and it is necessary. All Americans are encouraged to learn the English language. Even if you were Native American, you or someone you descended from was required to learn English as a second language. Most of our descendants had to learn English as a second language, and it's no different today. America is a country full of diversity, and it needs to be understood through proper education that teaching English as second other language is not a threat to our heritage, but it in fact strengthens who we are as Americans. Today I'd like to give you some information about the following. Number one, what the terms first and second language mean. Number two, how learning English as second language strengthens our heritage rather than weakens it. And number three, having an awareness of English language learners can teach you things about yourself as well as increase our national security. A first language means the language that you had at the time of your birth, or your first spoken language of any individual. I once overheard a couple of people visiting, and they had heard about English as second language in the schools, and they're very upset. They said, why should we teach English as second language? English ought to be the first language for everybody. They just didn't understand. You can't change where you were born. It has to be understood that having a language other than English as your first language doesn't mean that a person didn't desire to learn English, but they are in fact making that extra effort to learn English in our own country. It's required in our public schools across America. Students have to learn English in order to be able to function in the classroom. Adults who come from other countries have to learn English in the workplace to be able to communicate. In a nutshell, that's what it's about, communication. Learning English as a second language strengthens our heritage rather than weakens it. Learning English as a second language provides a common tongue that strengthens education in America. It also provides a common means of communication within our own communities, and it strengthens our communities. Learning English as a second language sets the standards for immigrant workers that English is the primary language in America, and that will strengthen communication across our country. There are key things that you can help in strengthening this heritage of freedom, safety, and diversity. First of all, be informed yourself. Remember my illustration? Inform others. Support rather than be threatened by the need to communicate. Get involved by finding out where people at the grassroots in your community are who need that English support. Recognize that this also strengthens security in America by keeping you aware of people that are around you. So I challenge you, get involved. As a friend of mine once stated, be part of the solution rather than the pollution. Identify people in your community at the grassroots who need support in learning the English language. Offer your services to help ELLs transition into American culture with a positive attitude. Simply share things familiar and common. In our state, we got involved with a people group, and we just simply went into their homes and took photographs of holidays that we celebrated, and grandparents and children, to begin a common conversation that we could visit about. Go with them to the grocery store. Invite them to your church. Have them over for a meal. You can teach them how to drive a car. You can even help them fill out a job application. Identify nonprofit organizations that are actively involved in teaching English as second language classes and get involved. Recognize that you actually can learn something. Remember the airplane ride. Never forget the bigger picture. So today we've learned about what the terms first and second language in America means, what teaching English as second language means, and how learning that English as second language strengthens our heritage rather than weakens it. We've learned how greater awareness of other cultures can actually increase national security. America is a country full of diversity, and it must be understood through proper education that teaching English as second language is not a threat to our heritage, but in fact strengthens who we are as Americans. Get involved. Thank you.